Hello everyone, these are going to be your messages for June 2019. My name is Joanna the Medium. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you like what you find here. I am not a traditional tarot reader. I guess I would say I'm an intuitive psychic, even though I hate that word. So majority of my messages comes through intuition, and you'll sometimes hear me talking to spirit out loud. Point is, if you are looking for a traditional tarot reader, that's not me. So this is obviously general. If these messages don't make sense to you, do listen to them later. They seem to make a lot of sense down the road for many, many, many people. And first and foremost, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you, again, who are new, thank you for taking the chance. My aim is always to give you something to chew on, to think about. My aim is not to make you believe anything or change something inside in you. You know what my gift is? Not my gift, my passion is, aside from empowering. I actually got this morning in my meditation. I just kind of went, yes, that's exactly it. I was being shown that I get information. It's almost like a roadmap, and I give it to you. And once you have a roadmap, you know where you're going. So whatever that means to you, that was obviously a metaphor. My aim is to give you a roadmap, but it is up to you to take it. It's up to you to look at it and see if you like it. And then consider looking at the map and seeing where it leads you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's absolutely up to you what you decide. And nobody's right or wrong. This is just my perspective from spirit. And if things have not been working for you for a while, trying a different perspective sometimes can usher brand new, beautiful experiences. So do know that this is general though, so it may not apply to everyone. Of course, for private information or private sessions with me, that information is always down below. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I want to wish you best of luck in the month of June. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for being part of my channel, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Without further ado, let's move on to each sign. Hello, beautiful Aries. These are going to be your messages for the month of June. Though as I mentioned in the other, on the other signs and the other messages, I have a feeling this is going to cover June, July, and August. So for the next few weeks till about 3 months, this is what I'm being asked to say more and more often. So chances are that some of this will make sense to you right away. Some of it may not make sense to you at all until a month and a half from now or August. All right. So let me just see where I want to start. First of all, I want to say there is a new beginning waiting for you, and that's how I want to say it. At the same time, I'm saying this to you because I know it hasn't arrived yet. So it is as if to say to you, don't rush into anything. Your new beginning is being created in the ethers, so to speak. Your job or your responsibility for the next little while is to create an internal emotional experience that will allow you to draw that new beginning towards you. So some of you may be saying, I don't know what she's talking about. In a more mundane way of saying it, there conditions are being created behind the scenes that will eventually show up as a new beginning, category of new beginning, a new job, new relationship, new way of thinking, new way of doing things, an opportunity shows up, you're getting married, change, good change, new beginnings, good change. At the same time, I also see that whatever this new beginning is, it brings with it a change of circumstances. So for some of you, this denotes some sort of a move. And for some of you, it's fast-paced move. So at least one person will understand it. You will either get or create a job somewhere else, and that opportunity will have you move somewhere else. You might move closer to your work. You might move away from where you are. There's a new beginning. There is a change, and it comes with a move for some of you, physical. For others of you, this is a significant mental and emotional change. So it's a movement of energy. We're all vibrating. We're all vibrations. You guys probably know that. So we are always, we're always vibrating. And now all of us are being affected by this onset of high vibrating energy that brings forth a lot of change. A lot of the change is very positive. I don't even like to say positive or negative. We as humans tend to say it that way, but it really means it's either comfortable or not comfortable. But yes, in the human terms, I totally get it. The point I'm trying to make, and I'm getting long-winded about it, is that the new beginning is near. For those of you who are wanting a new beginning, or who have been working on new beginning, or trying to establish some sort of a new beginning in some area of your life, be love, relationships, marriage, opportunities, money, whatever it is, something you have been working on attaining, the end of the struggle is near. But I'm being shown the month of August. I don't feel many of you will understand this until the month of August. So between now and August, so June, July, August, 3 months, let's say, there seems to be opportunities being presented to you, or no, I'm going to leave it at that. The new beginning, new opportunities, that's how I'm going to leave it. So at the same time, you are transitioning from something now at this point, which, well, let me just move on to the cards. The number 10 represents, as you guys already know if you listen to me, completion. And, sorry, I'm all over the place. When this card showed up, it made me smile, because to me it denotes end of a struggle that is what I would consider karmic. In other words, it is something that has been bothering you for years, some kind of a struggle you've had, but it not only is it your struggle, it was the struggle of your parents and their parents and their parents, and go on, and so forth and so forth. So when this little symbol, this little guy comes up, it is for me a time of celebration, because it denotes leaving some sort of emotional baggage behind. With that comes the opportunity of new beginnings. So whatever the new beginnings that are waiting for you, it is as a result of you leaving something behind, more precisely perhaps breaking some old standing pattern or long-standing pattern that had you perplexed in your mind, and it had you it affected your emotions. I will get more into what that might be for you, but there is this shift of awareness that seems to be happening. You are transitioning from being one way to being another way. But it's not just you, it's not just the Aries sign, but this is being brought up, and I actually see this every single day, including with myself. So the number 10 symbolizes not new beginnings, we talked about that. Endings, not even endings. Endings have happened. Completions. So really like to see this message. I asked for a card of an animal spirit. What animal represents you? You got the octopus. So the octopus is a water sign or water symbol, which denotes your emotions. I'm supposed to hold it up a little bit more. There are several things that I want to say about this card. Number one, octopus has a lot of tentacles. So each tentacle is usually in a different direction. Part of the message here is that some of you may have been, or are already have been, or are going to be feeling like you are all over the place. You might be all over the place in your mind, because it's shown to me as a lot of activity going on. Or you might be all over the place in your physical life, where you are literally pulled in 10 different directions. And we can only withstand that for so long until something eventually breaks. But the reason why this is showing up is because the big part of this message is that this creature, that is you, lacks boundaries. So if you are a giver, for example, and you have a brilliant mind, you're very creative, but then you spread yourself so thin that your energy is all over the place. then it's very hard to find, well, let's say contentment inside, because you're not really inside, you're always somewhere else. So the big message here is, yes, you might be feeling all over the place, and I feel that's part of the change and eventually the new beginning that you are heading into. But this is encouraging you to create some sort of boundaries, emotional boundaries, not walls, boundaries. Define what boundaries are. So to me, wall is a protective mechanism that does not allow others in. For an example, a boundary is sort of like a fence, so to speak, and you can get through it, but it represents your turf. In other words, it represents almost like, how do I say this? First of all, it still allows people to come in, but it's on your terms. In other words, I don't think I want to over-explain that. I think you guys know what boundary means. But it sounds to me like some of you need to practice asserting your boundaries, or you are being encouraged to create boundaries for yourself. That's very, very important, particularly for those of you, for example, who are going to have a new beginning in terms of a brand new relationship, whether it be a work relationship or a romantic relationship, or any relationship for that matter. If you are used to being walked all over, for example, chances are your boundaries were not very high. Not only were they not very high, they were probably non-existent. Having moved from that, you probably would not want to experience that again. Therefore, anything you're moving forward towards next has the opportunity for you to start from a brand new foundation. In other words, let's say you're moving on from a job that you feel, doesn't deserve you, and you recognize that you lack boundaries, or your boundaries are not very effective. And then you let go of that job, or the job is eliminated, whatever happens, and you work on yourself, and then eventually you're going to get a new job, because that's usually how it goes. The next job that you take, it would be very beneficial for you to start from the beginning to assert your boundaries, not walls, boundaries. Why? Because the moment you walk into an environment and you assert yourself as you, then everybody knows what to expect. If you walk in with confidence, for example, and you are firm, gentle, likable, obviously, but solid within you, chances are that if anybody happens to come up and test your boundaries, you're going to go, thank you very much, but no, thank you very much. Whereas before, perhaps you would have shied away and you wouldn't have said anything. In other words, you're setting a parameter and essentially saying, this is how I want to be treated. So that's hugely, hugely, hugely important, particularly for those of you who are overgivers. Another animal came up. So I always honor more cards when they come through, even though I ask for one. The moth is an air sign, and I believe it's an air sign. So what's a moth? A moth is drawn to a light, but the moth here represents not having really any solid direction, therefore, or intention. Therefore, there is a likelihood for you to be pulled away into different things. Perhaps that's why you are all over the place, without really knowing what it is that you want, and therefore never really truly finding lasting happiness, because it's not fulfilling your fundamental need, which whatever that need is for you. So the message here is, watch out for tendencies for wanting more than you can handle right now. What does that mean? The grass isn't always greener on the other side. As a matter of fact, grass isn't greener on the other side, usually. It just looks that way from our angle. And this is what I'm hearing. Stay put where you are right now until the time comes when you know what you want, and then everything will shift forward. So sounds like over the next few months, you might be spending some time, or at least paying attention to what it is that you want. If you are in an unhappy relationship, what is it that you want? You may say, well, I want a partner who loves me. Okay, all right. Well, what does partner loving you give you? I don't know. Well, think about it. Well, it gives me a sense of safety. Okay. So are you then saying that without your partner, you have no sense of safety inside? I never thought about it that way. So if that was the case, then you could see how we might have a problem, because the feelings of safety that you are looking for are being temporarily satisfied by a source outside of you. But the moment something happens to that source, or the moment you feel that source is threatened, your whole idea of you in terms of safety and security is threatened as well. In other words, that security never belonged to you in the first place. So in this case, it would be important for you to cultivate some level of safety and security within you first, before you enter into a relationship, so that you don't over rely on your partner to make you safe or make you happy. Because we all know, if you're a human being and you've gone through a relationship, you're probably pretty familiar that no one can make you happy. People absolutely can attribute or contribute to being happy. Things can contribute to being happy, but happiness ultimately stems from you. I cannot sell you happiness. I can help you shift your perspective where that will allow you to find happiness, but nobody can give you that. So that's an example in terms of, being safe, for example, but that you can apply that equation to pretty much anything in your life. So watch for tendencies to wanting to be somewhere not. Because, well, I've already discussed that. What are some of the things you might be leaving behind you? This is where it gets really cool for me, because 9 of Wands shows up. So for those of you who don't know me, I am not a traditional tarot reader. I see cards, I look at cards, but they also speak to me in a different way. So the 9 of Wands in this context, in upright, is perseverance. When it shows up in reverse, it is usually to me about giving up. A lot of it, I feel, has to do with work situation or a relationship or a commitment or career. However, this is something that's leaving you. Perhaps it's a situation that you are leaving that has you feeling maybe emotionally neglected or mentally neglected, spiritually neglected. Because it's shown to me that it's leaving you, it is coinciding with the idea that there's a brand new beginning. So you must have done some work on yourself over the last little while in order for this to show up in a position of leaving. So this is leaving you. For those of you who are still in a space of, I don't know if I can do it. See if you can, I want to say it differently. For those of you who are still struggling with feelings of hopelessness or feelings of giving up, notice what are the feelings or emotions that are creating that within you. In other words, what is it that you are hopeless about? What is it that you have lost hope in? And I feel like I would expand on this for the next 25 minutes, but I can't do that. So let me just see if I can get an example. All right, let's go with the work example, because the next card you have is Knight of Wands, and it's facing this card. If you, for example, have lost all hope that you will find a great career, or you will find someone who loves you, or you will find the great next relationship, if you have lost all hope because it hasn't happening, then perhaps you might want to examine what your belief is about what it is that you are trying to create. So if you're wanting, for example, to have $1 million, let's just use a very drastic example, and you've been working towards it for a really long time and it's just not happening and you're just giving up. And keep in mind, $1 million, that's just a metaphor, something valuable, okay? And you lose all hope, and Spirit is saying, hey, what is your subconscious belief around money? Perhaps your belief around money is that it's scarce. Perhaps the idea of $1 million actually makes you feel excited at first, but then it makes you feel fearful or frightened. Perhaps your connection, emotional connection to money is that you can't have it for whatever reason, because your parents didn't have it, your neighbors didn't have it, you didn't have it, you were taught you shouldn't have it, your church told you that you should, whatever the message you received, particularly when you were young. Noticing what your belief is or connection to money may make you go, aha, the reason why I am not attracting, whatever that value is, because my connection towards it deeply, if I reflect on it, is actually one of scarcity or lack. I've talked about this before in other videos, so this is probably very familiar to you, but it's worth repeating, because it really is about what we believe, and what we believe isn't always readily available to us in terms of seeing it. The best way I found out to find out what one's subconscious belief system is to look at reoccurring themes that are causing you distress or difficulty and challenge. And reoccurring themes will give you a pretty good idea from which belief foundation you are coming from. And that's actually what I'm passionate about. That is what I zoom into a person and see, and then I'm able then to present it. So let me just move on to the next card. Then you have judgment. So to me, judgment symbolizes some sort of a finality. Now remember, you're moving to a new beginning. So it only makes logical sense to me that there would be something that would have to finalize in order for you to start something new. For some of you, this literally represents graduation. So that's no-brainer. This is the time where graduation is happening, June. So some of you may be actually going through a graduation, whether it's high school, whether it's another school. Some of you may be graduating from some kind of a program that you have taken in order to change your career. Some of you will be graduating and moving on up in terms of your creativity. What does that mean? You move on to doing something very different in terms of your career. Some of you are literally graduating from a life's lesson, or a lesson, if you will, even though I don't like to call it that way. So there's definitely some sort of a conclusion that's transpiring over the next few months. And the best way I want to say it is it's some sort of a graduation. I feel a lot of the graduation has to do in terms of your thinking, and you are elevating your thoughts. You're elevating you by changing or shifting how you feel and how you think, or how you think and how you feel. Is there anything else that I want to give to you? This is what I'm hearing. The key to success is always rooted in happiness found inside of you. I'm going to let you chew on that one, because my brain is trying to figure it out, and there's different ways that I could take this. But it is an important ingredient for us to have, because at the end of the day, happiness is what we are all searching for. And happiness is defined by different people differently. Each one person will have their own version of what happiness is. But happiness is a feeling, like I said before. I cannot sell you a feeling. Nobody can lend you a feeling. You can't borrow a feeling. Feeling comes from you. It is about our perspective and how we connect to different things that will either allow us to cultivate happiness, or will we get lost in lack and despair. So I'm going to leave that with you. If you're feeling slightly wonky over the next few months, and I have been feeling that for a while, chances are you're going through some shifts because you're moving towards new beginnings. At the end of the day, resolving conflict within is really what this is all for you. And again, the number 10 is showing up. Conclusions, completions. I've said this a million times, but I'm going to say it again. End of a cycle. For those of you who are meant to hear it, if this is for you, you'll know exactly what I mean. My clients, I deal with clients every day, and the typical phrase is, I can feel it. I don't know what it's supposed to look like, but I can feel I'm transitioning. I feel the same way. So with that said, I'm going to leave that with you. I hope this was helpful. It flowed slightly different than last month, but I kind of knew that was going to happen. So I'm changing as well. I'm not excluded from this fun, from these fun times. Do listen to it several more times over the next 2-3 months. And if this makes sense to you at some point, and if you are inclined to comment, I would love to hear that or see it, and I see every single one of your comments. So thank you so much once again. Of course, if you are wanting to have a private session with me, I would be absolutely honored. That information is down below. You guys are smart. You know how to find me. And with that said, I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself, and I will see you soon.